Democrats are going as far left as they can, and they think they've been given this mandate to do whatever the heck they want. But I think they're up for a rude awakening if they press forward on all these issues. But what people can do today is call their representatives and tell them to vote no on every single gun control bill that they're advancing in Lansing. Right now in the House, you can call your state representatives. The number is 517-373-0135 and ask to speak to your representative and tell them to vote no on House Bills 4138 through 4148. And just tell them vote no on all of these bills. That includes the universal gun licensing, registration scheme, red flag gun confiscation laws, and the lock up your safety laws that they're all trying to push through at rapid speed.
Brenden Boudreau, Great Lakes Gun Rights, joins us now to talk about what's at stake, particularly with these gun issues right now. But there's some really concerning things that we're looking at in Lansing. Welcome in. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, absolutely, Justin. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I find it ironic that Democrats are worried about democracy, but then when you look at the sham committee hearings that they ran on guns last week, in the House committee, they didn't allow a single pro-gun witness to testify against the bills, and on the Senate side, it was a ratio of 20-2, those anti-gun versus those pro-gun. And now we're hearing at the last minute here that they're looking to ram through their universal gun licensing bill through the House today. They're holding a committee hearing at 3 today. They plan on forcing that one out and having a late night vote along with the other issues tonight. So, things that they're trying to do under the cover of darkness tonight. How many Michiganders are going to be up watching the Michigan House of Representatives tonight as they're working to pass this draconian legislation? There won't be that many, but we're going to be there being the watchdog and letting people know what's happening.
So particularly some of these things, in fact, we'll tell you how you can fight back. One of those ways is recallmichigan.com. I know you just delivered a few thousands of petitions there to Lansing at the Capitol building. I want to talk about some of the more concerning things that are up in these bills. And in fact, there's one that we touched on just briefly yesterday when it comes to voting rights and access. Boy, the way they're working is really it's just diabolical, probably the best way to put it. But you just delivered a bunch of petitions. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, over the last few weeks, we've delivered over 80,000 petitions to state lawmakers, Republicans and Democrats, from their constituents, telling them to oppose these bills. Democrats want to trot out these polls saying that Michiganders support these bills. Of course, we can't see the questions, the way that they're phrasing these questions, and they're convincing themselves that they're safe to vote on these issues. But we've seen time and again that Republicans and Democrats that vote for gun control in swing districts lose their elections on this issue, and that's something we're going to be working on as well. We've been running ads and mail and phones in these swing districts, letting these Democrats and Republicans know if you vote for gun control, you're going to lose your job. And there is absolutely no reason for a single Republican to jump on this train. Republicans are getting railroaded by this stuff, just as gun owners are. And so, I'm hearing that there's even some Republicans who are considering voting for this stuff, and that needs to stop now. As for the swing district Democrats, I'm hearing that several of them are getting nervous because the left wing of the party is dragging them through this, and frankly, they're not going to be here very long if they vote for this stuff. And we have to make sure that happens, to make sure that they're held accountable for rushing these bills through with limited testimony and covering them or voting to pass them under the cover of darkness.
These election voting bills where they're now targeting a really crazy. Some of them. This particularly, you can't carry within 100 feet of a polling place. So you might say, okay, this is a little, this is a little strange. I don't know if I like that. But then you go even further. It's 100 feet within a ballot box.
Yeah.
Well, the rate that they're dropping these Zucker boxes everywhere, how am I supposed to know where these things are and be able to keep track of them all?
Yeah.
I mean, they could put these things anywhere.
Yeah, the bills you're talking about are House Bill 4127 and 4128. They passed those out of the House Elections Committee yesterday, and I don't think those are coming to the floor today. But who knows? They pull stuff out of a hat at the last minute all the time. But yeah, what they're actually doing with those, they will make it impossible for many people to go vote. This is a voter suppression effort because it actually, the way that the bill is written, an off-duty police officer driving home from his shift would not even be able to go vote while
crazy.
carrying, which many departments require their officers to carry while they're off duty.
Yeah.
So, how are they going to be able to go in a voting booth? And to your point, Justin, in Kent County, I believe there's 42 different ballot drop box locations across the county. And, there's no exemption for if you happen to drive through one of these places. Or what if one of these drop boxes happen to be just in your out front of your house? It doesn't talk about, it talks about in the residence. Well, what about in your yard? Are you allowed to carry a gun in your own yard if it's within 100 feet of a ballot drop box? I mean, we're talking about making criminals out of people who are just practicing their rights on a daily basis without even knowingly going through one of these stupid gun-free zones, where we know gun-free zones are the targets of killers. 96% of all mass shootings happen in gun-free zones, and yet the Michigan Democrats are just going to set up more of them.
To me, the most I think blatant part of this is looking at people like mothers that want to defend their families. In the red flag laws, particularly, mothers going through a dangerous divorce, or a woman's going through a dangerous divorce or breakup with a man who's very controlling. He's manipulative. Maybe he's an abuser. And she's got one way to really defend herself and make sure that she stays safe. And it's with that great equalizer, that the firearm. And if he makes a call under these new red flag laws, then she can be left defenseless like a sitting duck, because the way they've got these laws worked out. Now, I thought, and I could be wrong, but maybe you could correct me here, aren't these folks pro women's rights, and haven't they been the party, Democrats been the party of defending women and, of course, their right to bodily integrity? And figure out the logic on this is really hard to follow, isn't it?
Yeah, it just kind of shows you how clueless and out of touch many of these liberal Democrats are. They don't even know how real people live their lives. These red flag laws, they don't even know how their bills are written. You had Mallory McMurrow, one of the bill sponsors, saying, "Oh, this doesn't allow exes to file a red flag petition against their ex-spouse." Actually, yes, it does. It says very clearly that a former spouse or someone who has or had a relationship with someone, that includes not even just spouses, that includes ex-girlfriends and ex-boyfriends, anytime in your past could file a red flag petition against you. And you're talking about how is this going to impact crime-ridden areas in Michigan? Do you think these laws are actually going to be enforced in the rural parts of the state? Unlikely, because many sheriffs oppose these bills. But these bills are going to be abused. These laws are going to be abused in the crime-ridden areas against people who are scared of their lives, against people who want to harm them. Like you said, ex-spouses who could use this against them. What judge is going to deny a red flag order if an ex-spouse calls the judge and says, "Oh, I'm concerned this person is going to hurt themselves or others"? With how low of a threshold on it, what judge is going to say no to that? And then we're going to actually be disarming victims of violence, through these red flag orders that Democrats are saying are actually going to help protect, potential victims of violence. It's insanity.
Brenden Boudreau, Great Lakes Gun Rights. Folks are fighting back. In fact, I know you got a couple of different ways for people to join the fight today and in the coming days. Recallmichigan.com is one of the websites that folks can go right now and make sure they stand up and make their voices heard. Tell us about that, and then some of the other ways folks can get in touch with the folks who are running things in Lansing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously right now we're looking at the the potential of having to initiate recalls against a handful of Democrats or even some Republicans if they vote for this, because ultimately we have the system here in Michigan that allows to hold politicians immediately accountable for their behavior in Lansing. And I know that we're not the only ones that are talking about this. I've heard other grassroots activists who are already talking about doing this in their areas because they're fed up. And it's not just because of the gun issue, it's because of all these issues. Democrats are going as far left as they can, and they think they've been given this mandate to do whatever the heck they want. But I think they're up for a rude awakening if they press forward on all these issues. But what people can do today is call their representatives and tell them to vote no on every single gun control bill that they're advancing in Lansing. Right now in the House, you can call your state representatives. The number is 517-373-0135 and ask to speak to your representative and tell them to vote no on House Bills 4138 through 4148. And just tell them vote no on all of these bills. That includes the universal gun licensing, registration scheme, red flag gun confiscation laws, and the lock up your safety laws that they're all trying to push through at rapid speed.
Brenden Boudreau, Great Lakes Gun Rights. You can find out more when you go to recallmichigan.com. Always a pleasure. Appreciate you being here, taking the time with us. Keep up the fight and the good work, Brenden.
Absolutely. Thank you, Justin.
You got it.